Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our microprofile coaching. Let's start with mycology. First, let's have our culture media for fungi. So we have your culture media for primary isolation, and then you also have here your special purpose media. Okay? First is your sovereign dextrose agar, no? Ito po yung ginagamit natin for your primary isolation and maintenance of cultures. Okay? And addition of thiamine to your SDA enhances the growth of your dermatophytes. Okay, so mamaya malalaman natin sino-sino ba yung mga dermatophytes. Okay? Then you also have your brain heart infusion in agar. Okay, this is used for the isolation and maintenance of the yeast phase of systemic fungi at 35 degrees Celsius. Yung mga systemic fungi po natin, if you would recall, the systemic fungi are dimorphic. Dimorphic. So, ibig sabihin, dalawang forms. No? They can exist either as yeast or as mold. Okay, so usually they exist as yeast at body temperature, so around 35 degrees Celsius. Okay, they exist as mold kapag naman nasa room temperature po sila. So if you want to isolate the yeast phase of your systemic fungi and other dimorphic fungi, you can use your brain heart infusion in agar, which is incubated at 35 degrees Celsius. Okay, so yun po ibig sabihin ng dimorphic, huwag kakalimutan. Okay. The brain heart infusion in agar with 10% sheep blood, this would be for blastomyces and histoplasma. So tandaan na lang po kung para saan ginagamit. Yeast extract agar is for histoplasma, blastomyces, and coccidioides. And then you also have your DTM. So DTM is your dermatophyte test medium. Kaya ang indicator po nito is your phenol red. Okay, your dermatophytes, most of them would produce a red color on this test medium. Okay. Then let's go to your special purpose media. First is your cornmeal agar. Ang cornmeal agar po, pakitatandaan, this stimulates your chlamydospore production. Okay, chlamydospore production for Candida albicans. Okay, you can also add 1% glucose to cornmeal agar to differentiate T. rubrum from T. mentagrophytes. Okay, so mamaya malalaman natin, how do we differentiate T. rubrum versus T. mentagrophytes using your 1% glucose in your cornmeal agar. Okay, so mamaya tandaan natin po yan. Tandaan po natin yan. Also have your cornmeal agar with twin 80 and trypan blue. Twin 80 reduces the surface tension of the medium and promotes optimal reproduction of hyphae and blastospores. Trypan blue, on the other hand, aids visual observation. Okay, this culture medium is for the presumptive identification of your Candida species. And it can also help in demonstrating the microscopic features of your Cryptococcus, Saccharomyces, Geotrichum, and Trichospora. Okay. Chapex agar, this is for your Aspergillus. Okay, Ascospore agar naman po is for demonstrating the Ascospore production for your Saccharomyces. Okay, birdseed agar naman po is for Cryptococcus neoformans. No, on your birdseed agar or your staves medium, Cryptococcus neoformans produces your brown pigment. Okay, so yung mga culture medium po na ganito, you have to remember para sa po yung purpose nila. Yan ang mahalaga dyan. Okay. Then rice agar, this is used to differentiate your M. alduini, okay, from your M. canis. Ang positive po na growth dito is your M. canis. Okay. And then you also have your urease test medium. Okay. Ang urease test medium naman po is used to demonstrate urease production. Sorry. Yan. Used to demonstrate urease production by your T. mentagrophytes. Okay, versus your T. rubrum, which does not produce urease. Okay, special test po tayo. First po is your germ tube test. Very important po ito sa mycology, huwag kakalimutan. Your germ tube test is for the identification of Candida albicans. So how do we perform this? No, you have a very small inoculum from an isolated yeast colony, plus you add this to your serum or plasma. And then you incubate for 35 degrees Celsius for 3 hours. Okay, and then we look microscopically for the appearance of your germ tubes. Okay, so ano ba itsura ng germ tube? If this is your yeast cell, you will see an extension from the yeast cell. And this is actually a representative of a beginning hyphae. Okay, so remember yung hyphae, yun yung tubular na structures ng mga fungi. Okay, so para sa kumbaga seed, para siyang seed na may tumutubong plant. Ganun yung idea niya. You have your yeast cell, tapos may hyphae na nag-emerge from it. You call that the germ tube. Now, you have to differentiate this from what you call your pseudo-hyphae. Okay? So ito yung common na pagkakama ng germ tube, yung pseudo-hyphae. Your pseudo-hyphae is a product of budding. Okay? Or the process of blastoconidation. Blastoconidation. Sorry, spelling pa tayo. Isa pa. Yan. Blastoconidation. So ano nangyari dito? You have one yeast cell. Yung one yeast cell po na ito na magdi-divide siya into two. Okay, so yung one mother cell kumbaga magdi-divide into two daughter cells, but hindi nagse-separate yung ating daughter cells from each other. So naging kumbaga incomplete yung budding process. And then eventually, these yeast cells would undergo division again. So separate into two yung isa. Separate din ulit into two. Pero again, wala na namang complete separation. Until what happens is that, okay, what happens is that is you produce an elongated structure. Hindi po ito hyphae. Okay, hindi po ito hyphae. These are actually buds no, which fail to separate from each other. Ang tawag natin doon pseudo-hyphae. Okay, so germ tube versus pseudo-hyphae po. Yung germ tube nyo, makita nyo guys, no constrictions. So the germ tube has no constrictions. On the other hand, your pseudo-hyphae, as you could see, no, because of the budding process, meron tayong makita mga constrictions. So that would be how you differentiate your germ tube from your pseudo-hyphae. And again, do not forget the germ tube, no, pag positive po yan, that is Candida albicans. Okay. Next is L-DOPA, ferric citrate test. L-DOPA is a substrate used to demonstrate the production of your black color, okay, because of melanin, okay, by organisms producing phenyl oxidase. Okay, this is for the rapid identification of Cryptococcus neoformans. Okay, so pag positive po sa L-DOPA, ferric citrate test, okay, think of Cryptococcus neoformans. Rapid race test, positive din po dito sa Cryptococcus neoformans. And then sa hair baiting test naman, okay, what we do is basically we grow our organism on hair, kaya ng hair baiting test, you know. You add sterilized hair from a child and a portion of your fungal colony, incubate, and then examine the hair. Okay? So ang positive result po dito, V-shaped penetration of the hair shaft. If you're going to imagine this as your hair, okay, makita nyo guys, yung fungi nyo, okay, na-penetrate yung mismo hair. Ang positive dito is T. mentagrophytes. Okay, T. mentagrophytes. Mamaya makikita natin yung table differentiating T. mentagrophytes from T. rubrum. Okay, then you have here a table showing you different types of mycosis. So we say mycosis, no, these are fungal infections. Okay, so pag sinabi superficial mycosis, nasa skin siya but there's no cellular response by the host. So wala kang makitang inflammation dun sa pasyente natin. So an example would be your pityriasis versicolor. Okay, in layman's term, ito po yung an-an. Causative agent po would be your malassezia. Okay, so what do you have to remember about malassezia? Please remember that malassezia is lipophilic. So ba, tinanong kayo sa ESCP, no? Which of the following fungi require olive oil, no, for growth or whatever oil there is? Think of malassezia, since malassezia is lipophilic. Okay? Kaya nga po, no, in patients with poor hygiene, yung medyo hindi naliligo, ganyan, when they have a lot of kumbaga, fatty acids in their skin, mga ganun, mga fats, mas naging conducive for your malassezia. Okay? Kaya mas predisposed sila to develop an-an. Okay, ano pa? Malassezia, remember your spaghetti and meatballs appearance. Spaghetti and meatballs. Okay, so when you examine under the microscope, no, you will see yeast cells or rather spores. You will see spores tapos may mga unbranching hyphae, no? So pali-paligid. Yan, may mga unbranching hyphae na mukhang pasta. Kaya tinawag siyang spaghetti and meatballs. Okay? Next is Tinea nigra. Okay, this is caused by Hortea wernicki or Exophylla wernicki. Black Piedra is caused by Pedraea hortei. White Piedra is caused by your Trichosporon species. Okay, Trichosporon po, not to be confused with Trichophyton. Okay, next, you have your cutaneous mycosis. No? In cutaneous mycosis, the disease is a result of the host reaction to metabolic products of the fungus. Okay, so nagre-react yung ating host, no, doon sa metabolic products. Examples would include your Tinea. Okay, Tinea corporis, Tinea pedis, Tinea cruris, etc. And the causative agents po ng mga ito would be what you call dermatophytes. Okay, so nagkukos po ng mga Tinea, okay, yung mga ringworm infection, no, are the dermatophytes. The dermatophytes include your Microsporum, Epidermophyton, and Trichophyton. So we can actually call this cutaneous mycosis as dermatophytosis. Okay, kasi ang causative agent dermatophytes. Okay. Next. Any questions so far? Subcutaneous, you have involvement of the muscle and subcutaneous tissue. So usually, for subcutaneous infections to happen, kailangan merong break sa skin. Okay, kailangan may injury sa skin para makapasok yung ating organism to the deeper tissues. Okay, so examples would include chromoblastomycosis caused by Fonsecae, Phylophora, and Cladosporum species. Okay, you also have your sporotrichosis. Please remember that sporotrichosis is also known as your Rose Gardner's disease. Okay, usually ito yung mga Rose Gardner, no, yung mga nag-garden, yung nagkakaroon nito. No, for the reason that yung thorns ng rose, they can penetrate the skin, and eventually that will now help the organism to be introduced, no, to deeper tissue. Okay, so that's Rose Gardner's disease, sporotrichosis. The causative agent is Sporotrichsenki. Please remember that Sporotrichsenki is also dimorphic. Okay, ibig sabihin may two forms siya, yeast at saka mold form. Okay. The next, you have your phaeohyphomycosis caused by Exophylla ginselmei, etc. Then also Mycetoma caused by Exophylla ginselmei, etc. Okay, if you look at the list, medyo madami causative agents yung mga yan. Alright, systemic, you have involvement of deep tissue and organs. Usually po, ang mode of transmission nito would be inhalation. Okay, inhalation of spores. So since inhalation ang ating mode of transmission, kadalasan ang organ na affected would be the lungs. Okay, so most of the time the systemic infections now would manifest in as respiratory symptoms. Okay, so first is histoplasmosis, also called as Darling's disease or Spelunker's disease. Causative agent po, Histoplasma capsulatum. Okay, coccidioidomycosis is also known as your San Joaquin Valley fever or your desert rheumatism. A causative agent naman po, Coccidioides immitis. Blastomycosis is your Gilchrist disease or North American blastomycosis. This is caused by Blastomyces dermatitidis. Okay, and then Paracoccidioidomycosis, also known as South American blastomycosis, is caused by Paracoccidioides brasiliensis. Okay, so very important guys itong mga systemic fungi. No? I want you to remember kung ano yung mga other names ng sakit and of course the causative agents of each systemic infection. And then lastly, for your opportunistic, you have your candidiasis caused by Candida albicans. Okay. Cryptococcosis, this is caused by Cryptococcus neoformans. Aspergillosis naman, mga aspergillus, no? Okay. Zygomycosis is caused by Rhizopus and mucor. Penicilliosis by Penicillium, and then you have your Pneumocystis pneumonia caused by Pneumocystis jirovecii or Pneumocystis carinii. Okay. Please remember, no, ito pong pneumocystis na to, this is associated, okay, with HIV patients. Okay, so kadalasan yung mga pneumocystis naman, asymptomatic yan if you are immunocompetent. No, but if the patient has, let's say for example, HIV, okay, doon mas naging delikado itong si pneumocystis. Okay, so kadalasan nagkukos siya ng pneumonia, no, among HIV/AIDS patients. Okay? Mycology must knows. Daan na lang po natin ito. So for Malassezia, nabanggit ko na po, no, lipophilic yeast po ito. And for its appearance, you have your spaghetti and meatballs appearance. Okay, Trichophyton. Marami pong Trichophyton, but ang kadalasan dinidifferentiate, Trichophyton rubrum and Trichophyton mentagrophytes. Okay? When you are differentiating your dermatophytes, no, you have to look at their microconidia and their macroconidia. So for Trichophyton rubrum, yung microconidia po nila is tear-shaped. Okay? For Trichophyton mentagrophytes, they are spherical, often in grape-like clusters. No? So palitandaan ko dyan, mentagrophytes, mentagrape, no? Parang siyang grape, grape, no? Grape-like clusters po itong Trichophyton mentagrophytes. Okay? Red pigment and culture medium, ang nagpo-produce po ng red pigment ay si Trichophyton rubrum. Kaya siya rubrum, ruby, diba? It produces a red pigment. Okay? Trichophyton mentagrophytes, on the other hand, produces scant red pigment, kaunti lang. Erase production, none or weak, delayed for Trichophyton rubrum. Ang positive po, T mentagrophytes, no, which produces urease within 1 to 3 days. Okay, and then we have also mentioned a while ago the hair baiting test, okay, which is positive for T mentagrophytes. No? T mentagrophytes penetrates your hair shaft. Okay, so now if you look at below, you have a picture here of your Trichophyton rubrum. So makita niyo guys na yung mga microconidia, maliliit. Okay, these are tear-shaped, no? Described to be tear-shaped. Okay, yung macroconidia naman nila, pencil-shaped. No? But until now, hindi ko ma-imagine paano naging pencil yan. So pencil-shaped po siya, yung macroconidia for T rubrum. For T mentagrophytes, look at the microconidia. They are spherical and they appear in grape-like clusters. Okay, the macroconidia, on the other hand, is smooth-walled cigar shape. Okay, next po tayo, let's go to your Mycosporum. There are 3 notable Mycosporum. You have your Mycosporum canis, Mycosporum gypsum, and Mycosporum alduini. Si canis po yung zoophilic. Okay, yan, si canis po yung zoophilic, no, meaning you acquire this from animals. Okay, ang kanyang macroconidia described to be large, multi-celled, spindle-shaped, rough-walled. Okay, and the terminal end may be sometimes curved. Sorry, nag-jump yung ating page. So, ganito yung itsura niya guys, no? Yan nandito sa upper right. Okay. Terminal end sometimes curved. Itong terminal end yan sometimes curved. Mycosporum gypsum is geophilic, meaning you get it from the soil. The macroconidia is spindle-shaped, rough-walled, and the terminal ends are rounded. Unlike dito sa canis, no, yung terminal ends nila curved. But for gypsum, it would be rounded. Okay? Mycosporum alduini is anthropophilic. Ibig sabihin, ito talaga nagre-reside sa humans. Okay? Conidia is absent or bizarre if present. What we see are a typical vegetative hyphae with terminal chlamydospores, like this one. And terminal chlamydospore. Then also have your racket hyphae and also your fabric chandeliers. These are all associated with Mycosporum alduini. Okay. On rice agar, please remember that M. canis is positive, M. alduini is negative. Okay. Now, do we know if your Mycosporum affects hair or infects hair rather? Okay. You can also apply your fluorescent light. So your UV light, your fluorescent light. Yung Mycosporum canis po, no, you have green-yellow fluorescence of ectotrix hair. Sa Mycosporum alduini naman, apple green fluorescence. Medyo malapit, but there's a difference. Okay. Next, Protrix schenki. Okay, for Protrix schenki, remember that this is dimorphic, and what we see are cigar-shaped yeast cells. Okay, cigar-shaped yeast cells. And in tissue, when you do your biopsy, you will be able to demonstrate your asteroid bodies. Okay. Next is H. capsulatum. This is histoplasma capsulatum. Okay, but wala po siyang capsule, ha? Remember, nag-iisang encapsulated na fungi is Cryptococcus neoformans. Ang histoplasma capsulatum, hindi po siya encapsulated. Okay, so what we see with H. capsulatum, you will see small yeast cells with 1 to several buds. May buds have narrow attachment to their mother cell. And H. capsulatum also produces tuberculate macroconidia. Okay, on tissue picture, you will see small round to oval yeast-like cells within macrophages. Okay? Or lying free in extracellular spaces. And then you also see what we call the pseudocapsule effect. Okay? Napagkama lang siya may capsule before no, because of the pseudocapsule effect. Okay? Si initis, okay? Remember the hyphae is dissociated into arthroconidia. Okay? Described to be barrel-shaped. So pag nakita niyan, arthroconidia barrel-shaped, think of Coccidioides initis. Okay? For a tissue picture, what we're looking for are spherules. Okay, next is B. dermatitidis. Okay, for its yeast form, look for a single broad-based bud. So, ano ibig sabihin nun? Let's say this is your yeast cell. Okay? Yung yeast cell mo, isa lang yung na-form na, kumbaga, daughter or na-form na bud. Okay? So, you have a single broad-based, no? Ito, broad na based bud. Okay? Coccidioides brasiliensis, first yeast form, makita naman po natin is yung pilot-wheel appearance. So you have one mother cell, okay? Tapos sa paligid niya, napakaraming buds. So when you look at this under the microscope, mukha siyang yung pilot's wheel daw, or mariner's wheel, no? Yung wheel ng mga captain sa pirate ship, mga ganyan. So lahat po na pertains to your Coccidioides brasiliensis. Okay? Next, you have here the causative agents of the zygomycosis. These are your Rhizopus and Mucor. Okay? So anong matatandaan po dito? For Rhizopus and Mucor, remember, okay, their hyphae would be broad, non-septate, twisting ribbon-like. Okay? So most of the fungi that we have talked about, yung hyphae nila, pag tinignan nyo guys, may divisions. Okay? Ang tawag doon septate. But for your zygomycosis, no, yung mga agents sa zygomycosis, wala pong septate yung kanilang hyphae. So as in, dire-diretso lang na ganyan. Okay? Walang septate, no? Again, this will be for Rhizopus and Mucor. Okay. Next, let's go to virology. So dito sa virology guys, na sinamarize ko na po yung mga DNA viruses at saka RNA viruses. You just have to go through the different viral families, yung mga representative viruses nila, and then know the infections that they cause. Okay? Pag na-memorize ito guys, malaking bagay na siya. RNA viruses, mas madami pong families yan, no? And then for each member of your family, you have different infections that they may cause. Okay? So please go over this table guys. I-print nyo siya para mas madaling mabasa. Okay? So we're done with Myco and Viro. Okay? Let's just have a 5-minute break guys. CR lang po saglit. Thank you. Okay, so let's continue. You have your bacteriology. Guys, naka-enumerate po dito iba't ibang bacteria plus diseases caused. Please go over this table. Medyo mahaba. Okay. But sinamarize na po natin, no? Yan. So mga diseases na dapat tandaan. You also have here a summary of the various appearances, no? Microscopic appearance and cultural appearances that you have to remember. Okay. I think ang isa sa mga recent na natanong itong Echinella corrodens. No? So Echinella corrodens, remember, it produces eating of agar. Okay. So very useful din po yung table na to. And then mga characteristic odor. Okay. Ang isa pa na tanong dito, again, Echinella corrodens. Echinella corrodens produces your bleach-like odor. Okay, so naka-summarize na rin po dito. Let's go to unique identification requirements for growth. No? So for Francisella requires cysteine and cysteine. Okay, yun yung special requirement niya. Legionella would require cysteine plus iron. Abitrophia requires vitamin B6, and then your urea plasma urolithicum requires sterols. Okay, then you have here your various Clostridium species. Okay. So may table na dito, no? But some of the notable things here, Clostridium perfringens, lecithinase, and lactose positive. Non-motil po yan. Clostridium botulinum, this is the only Clostridium positive for lipase. Tama ba yan? Yes, tama. Nag-iisang positive for lipase, no? Clostridium botulinum. And then Clostridium tetani, this is the only Clostridium negative for glucose. Okay? So please remember that. Pseudomonas aeruginosa, this is the only Pseudomonas that grows at 42 degrees Celsius. Okay? Bacillus anthracis, please remember this is the only non-motile bacillus. On the other hand, yung isang bacillus nyo, si Bacillus cereus, okay, remember that this is motile. Okay, also remember that Bacillus cereus is beta hemolytic. In contrast, si Bacillus anthracis na non-motile, okay, non-hemolytic pa yan. Okay. Next, let's go to your Brucella. Brucella abortus is the only Brucella which is positive for CO2 and also positive for H2S at the same time. Okay, and then go over the other species under Brucella. Okay, Bordetella pertussis, this is the only Bordetella which is oxidase positive. Bordetella bronchoseptica, oxidase, urease, and nitrate positive, and also motile. Okay, Hafnia has delayed citrate activity. Klebsiella oxytoca, huwag pong kakalimutan na this is the only Klebsiella which is indole positive. Okay, I think nasabi ko rin naman to sa lecture natin, no? Klebsiella oxytoca, the only Klebsiella positive for indole. All of the other Klebsiella are negative for indole. Okay, Shigella sonnei, this is the only Shigella positive for your ONPG. Remember that your ONPG is this is a test for slow lactose fermentation. Okay. Test for slow lactose fermentation. And then binalik ko lang po dito yung various oxygen requirements. You will also find this on your notes. Please review your oxygen requirements. Okay? And then do not forget, okay, yung mga important pairs dito, no, na nadi-differentiate ng oxygen requirement. For example, no, si Bacillus at si Clostridium. Ano po ang common sa kanila? Type na sa chat box. Ano po yung common sa Bacillus at Clostridium? They are spore formers. Ito po yung dalawa nating spore former, Bacillus and Clostridium. One of them is an obligate aerobe, that's Bacillus. And the other one is an obligate anaerobe, that is your Clostridium. Okay? Another important pair, Nocardia and Actinomyces. Ano po ang common dito sa dalawang ito? Type na sa chat box, guys. Do you remember? Nocardia and Actinomyces. Nocardia versus Actinomyces. Okay, so what is common to them is that they are both considered fungi-like or filamentous bacteria. Okay, so dati no, pinagkakamala silang fungi kasi yung structure nila mukhang hyphae. Okay, but hindi po. These are actually bacteria. Okay, so remember that your Nocardia is an obligate aerobe. Okay, Actinomyces is an anaerobe. Okay, and also your Nocardia is acid-fast positive. Okay, Actinomyces is acid-fast negative. Okay, so remember these pairs, no? Kalimutan, guys. Bacillus anthracis, please remember, siya lang po yung nag-iisa na may capsule made of polypeptide diglutamic acid. Okay, all the rest of the other capsules ng ibang encapsulated organisms, ang capsule nila is made of polysaccharide. But for Bacillus anthracis, the capsule is made of polypeptide diglutamic acid. Okay, let's go to your antimicrobial susceptibility testing. No, in your antimicrobial susceptibility testing, we usually make use of your Mueller-Hinton agar. The agar depth would be 4 millimeters. No, ganun siya kakapal dapat. Discs should be 24 millimeters from center to center of each other. Yun po yung distance ng discs sa isa't isa. Okay? Hindi pwedeng isang Petri dish lang, isang Mueller-Hinton agar, tapos sobrang daming mga antibiotic disc. Dapat may distance in between them, no? So that we could be able to see the zone of inhibition properly. And then the pH of your Mueller-Hinton agar should be from 7.2 to 7.4. Okay? Possible sources of error in your AST. Okay, mahilig sila magkaroon ng ganito about your AST. If the inoculum is too light, okay, ibig sabihin, kaunting bacteria lang yung na-inoculate natin sa ating agar, you would have a false sensitive or a false susceptible result. Okay? Kasi ang zone of inhibition mo, magiging falsely large. Okay? If the inoculum is too heavy, ibig sabihin mas marami kang bacteria na inoculate on your Petri dish, mangyari po, okay, false resistant naman. For the reason that your zone of inhibition would be smaller. Okay, mas maraming bacteria nag-grow, no? So hindi mananaig yung antibiotic, smaller yung ating magiging zone of inhibition. And that would be considered, or that would be misinterpreted as false resistant. Okay? Very dry agar surface, false sensitive, false susceptible po, or false sensitive. Okay? And then too much moisture in the agar, false resistant. And for the reason that this would be favorable to your bacteria. So mayari, yung moisture, no, it would cause your bacteria to grow more, and yung ating zone of inhibition magiging smaller. Ang interpretation natin dyan, false resistant. Okay? Increased calcium and magnesium causes increased resistance of Pseudomonas aeruginosa to aminoglycosides. No? Just remember that. Okay, next, number 8, tinatanong din po sa ESCP, how do you differentiate staph versus Micrococcus? Okay, ano bang common sa dalawang ito? Ano ba yung common sa kanilang dalawa? Your staph and your Micrococcus are both gram-positive cocci. Okay, and at the same time, they are also both catalase positive. Okay, so yung problema, yung Micrococcus mo na non-pathogenic naman, okay, non-pathogenic po ito. Okay, yung non-pathogenic na Micrococcus na pagkakamalan na staph. Okay, so how do you differentiate them? You can use your bacitracin, staph is resistant, Micrococcus susceptible. Furazolidone, susceptible ang staph, resistant ang Micrococcus. Modified oxidase or microdase test, negative ang staph. Ang positive po, Micrococcus. Okay, and then for lysostaphin sensitivity, staph is sensitive, Micrococcus is resistant. So please remember this table, guys, na tanong na to in one of the recent ASCP exam. Okay. And then, how do you differentiate staph epidermidis and staph saprophyticus? Okay, remember your novobiocin susceptibility testing. Okay, susceptible pong epidermidis, resistant ang saprophyticus. Okay, and then also remember the diseases associated with them. Staph epidermidis, okay, associated with bacterial endocarditis following insertion of artificial heart valves. Now, ang keyword dito, artificial. Okay, yung mga prosthetic devices, no, paboritong ini-infect ng staph epidermidis. Staph saprophyticus naman, this is an important cause of UTI in young women. Okay. Then we have here the various staph aureus virulence factors. Just go over this list. Okay. You have here your protein A. Okay, remember that protein A binds the Fc region of IgG. Supposedly, no, ang dumidikit sa bacteria is the Fab region. Diba? Kung ito yung antibody nyo, this is the Fab region, this is the Fc. Ang dumidikit sa ating bacteria is the Fab region. Okay? Yung Fc nyo should be free. But in the case of your protein A, yung Fc region yung dumidikit doon sa ating bacteria. So nababaliktad yung antibody, kumbaga, rendering it useless. Okay? You also have your staphylokinase, hyaluronidase, or Duran-Reynolds factor, aka spreading factor. Okay, DNase degrades DNA, and then you also have enterotoxins, which may cause food poisoning. And then your enterotoxin F, that's also known as your TSST1. Okay, enterotoxin F is also known as TSST1, and this causes toxic shock syndrome. A question, guys, ano po yung related, no, or anong associated na practice which predisposes someone to toxic shock syndrome? Paggamit ng ano? Paggamit ng, start with letter T. Toxic shock syndrome is associated with the use of tampons. Okay, letter T, tampons, toxic shock syndrome. Okay. Next, let's go to your Strep pyogenes. Okay, this causes upper respiratory tract infections, and one possible sequelae is your acute rheumatic fever. Strep pyogenes produces two hemolysins. So you have your streptolysin O and streptolysin S. O is oxygen labile, S is oxygen stable. Okay, between them, ang antigenic po is streptolysin O. Siya po yung antigenic. So it will now stimulate antibody production. Kaya meron nga po tayong tinatawag na anti-streptolysin O. Okay? So if you see anti-streptolysin O in your patient, that means that the patient had recently have your Strep pyogenes infection. Okay? Next, number 12, GABS sequelae. GABS po, this is your group A beta hemolytic strep. Baka kala niyo ako yan, no? This is group A beta hemolytic strep or your strep pyogenes. Okay, so strep pyogenes can also lead to the following sequelae. The first one is your rheumatic fever. Okay, so what happens? In rheumatic fever, anti-strep antibodies cross-react with tissue antigens. Okay, for example, no, heart valves. So yung mga antibodies mo na pang strep sana, ina-atake yung sarili mong tissue. So for example, heart valves. Pag heart valves yung tinamaan, that is now what you call rheumatic heart disease. Okay? For us to be able to make a diagnosis of rheumatic fever, of course, we have to look back in the past and see if the patient had strep pyogenes infection. Ang makapag-document lang nun would be your test like your anti-streptolysin O titer. And how about this one? Nephritic syndrome 2 to 3 weeks after GAS infection. This would be your PSGN. Okay, this is post-strep. Okay, post-strep glomerulonephritis. Okay, so nephritic syndrome 2 to 3 weeks after group A strep infection. So these are sequelae, no, of your strep pyogenes. Hindi po sila agad-agad nangyayari after strep pyogenes infection. Usually, you will have to wait 4 weeks. Okay, mga 2 to 3 weeks, for example, sa PSGN. Sa rheumatic fever, it could be up to 4 weeks pa nga and so on. Okay, next po tayo, let's go to your CAM test. Remember that the CAM test is positive for your group B strep. Positive result, arrowhead hemolysis. Okay, optogene susceptibility. Optogene susceptibility is used to differentiate your strep pneumoniae, okay, versus your viridans strep. Okay, strep pneumoniae versus viridans strep. Okay, si strep pneumoniae, remember, siya po yung susceptible. Viridans strep would be resistant to your optogene susceptibility. Okay, so what are Neisseria? Neisseria are described to be gram-negative diplococci resembling coffee beans. They're catalase positive except for Neisseria elongata. Okay, some special tests po, you have your modified oxidase test, okay, which is positive for your Neisseria. Okay, Neisseria gonorrhoeae, it causes your ophthalmia neonatorum. Neisseria meningitidis, it causes thrombocytopenia, DIC, and potentially Waterhouse-Friderichsen syndrome. Okay, and more than and so much more diseases. Okay, so this is a table differentiating the various Neisseria species. I think you know the pattern already. No, for Neisseria gonorrhoeae, letter G, glucose lang positive. For your meningitidis, aside from glucose being positive, maltose is also positive. Okay. Neisseria lactamica, ito po yung nag-iisang Neisseria na lactose positive. And then Neisseria sicca, siya po yung nag-iisang sucrose positive. Okay? Then you have your Neisseria elongata, which is negative in all sugars, and also Moraxella catarrhalis, which is negative for all sugars. Okay? Ang question ko sa inyo, class, how do you differentiate Neisseria elongata from Moraxella catarrhalis? Anong particular test po ang magdi-differentiate sa dalawang gram-negative din? Neisseria elongata and Moraxella catarrhalis. Anyone? So, ang pang-differentiate po dito is actually your DNase test. Okay? Or simply your DNase. Ang positive sa DNase po is Moraxella. Okay? Negative C, elongata. Okay? So, pag may tanong, no, gram-negative diplococci, negative in all sugars, DNase positive, that would be Moraxella catarrhalis. Now, if it is DNase negative, that would be Neisseria elongata. Okay. Alright, let's continue. You have your antigenic structures found in your enterobac. Just go over this one. Pakibasa na lang po. Then next is Escherichia coli. Okay. So E. coli, it causes a lot of infections. And this actually depends on the serotype, no, of your E. coli. Okay. So we have here your E. coli. You have your ETEC. This is your enterotoxigenic E. coli, which obviously produces toxins. and it causes your traveler's diarrhea, also known as Montezuma's revenge or the IEC. This is entero-invasive. Okay, invades the intestinal epithelium. Okay, so since may invasion na po dito na epithelium, you expect the stool of the patient to be somehow bloody. Okay. The next, you have your EPEC, no? Enteropathogenic E. coli. Ang palatandaan dito guys, bilugan niyo yung letter P sa EPEC. Okay? Letter P sa EPEC. Just to remind you na more of pedia patients ang affected dito, mga bata. Okay? Next is your EHEC. This is enterohemorrhagic E. coli. It produces verotoxin, which resembles that of your Shigella dysentery. And it causes your hemolytic uremic syndrome. Okay? Ang strain po na or ang serotype po na usually associated with EHEC is your E. coli 0157H7. Okay? Then you have your EAEC. This is enteroaggregative. So aggregative, aggregation, no? Aggregation. Okay? It involves binding by pili, no, to your mucosal surfaces. Enteroaggregative. Dumidikit siya. Okay? Klebsiella pneumonia, LDC positive. Ng Klebsiella oxytocin, aside from being LDC positive, remember that it is indole positive. So nag-isang indole positive ng Klebsiella. For Enterobacter, both of them are ODC positive. Okay? Ang pang-differentiate po, LDC and your ADH. Ang positive po sa LDC, Enterobacter aerogenes. Okay? Enterobacter cloacae is ADH positive. Okay? Serratia is positive for 3 enzymes, DNase, gelatinase, and lipase. Okay? Hackney albi, remember that this is a late lactose fermenter. Okay? Klebsiella, Enterobacter, and Serratia, they produce large amounts of gas on your TSI. Okay? Next, let's go to your Salmonella. Please remember that Salmonella, okay, Salmonella-infected patients, no, suffer from diarrhea, and the diarrhea is described to be pea soup-like stool. Okay, pea soup. A question, sino naman yung nagkakos ng rice watery diarrhea? Type mo sa chat box, guys. Sino naman yung nagkakos ng rice watery? Anyone? Rice watery diarrhea? Ang rice watery diarrhea po, it is caused by your Vibrio. So rice watery diarrhea. Ito Vibrio. Okay? Or Vibrio cholera. Kapag pea soup naman, remember your Salmonella. Okay, sources of infection, you have your water, milk, and dairy products, even shellfish, dried or frozen eggs, etc. Salmonella typhi is the most important cause of your enteric fever. Okay? Bismuth sulfide agar, selective medium for Salmonella. Any questions so far, guys? Okay, and then you have your Shigella, no? Shigella species cause bacillary dysentery to the intestinal tracts of humans. There are 4 species. Okay, and as you can see here in this table, no? Each of the species would be designated as serogroup. Serogroup A, dysentery. Serogroup B, Flexneri. Serogroup C, Boydii, and then serogroup D, Sonnei. Okay, and then you have here the test to differentiate the 4 species. Okay, so si serogroup A, si Shigella dysentery, siya lang yung nag-iisang catalase neg. ONPG neg and mannitol neg. Wala siyang gusto sa mga yan. Negative siya sa lahat. Okay? S. flexneri is negative for your catalase and your mannitol, but positive. Sorry, positive siya sa catalase and mannitol, but negative siya sa ONPG. Okay? S. boydii is your serogroup C, positive for both catalase and mannitol. Okay? S. sonnei is the only Shigella species, no, which is catalase positive, mannitol positive, and also ONPG positive. So again, remember itong Shigella sonnei ang nag-iisang ONPG positive na Shigella. Okay. Citrobacter resembles Salmonella but ONPG positive and LDC negative. Okay, that's Citrobacter. Lagi pinagkakamala sa Salmonella. Okay, next, let's go to your Proteus. There are 2 species to remember, Proteus vulgaris and Proteus mirabilis. Okay. Both may exhibit swarming. Okay. And remember, one way to differentiate between these 2 is indole production. Ang indole positive po is your vulgaris. Mirabilis is indole, negative. Okay. Yersinia is motile at room temp, but non-motile at, motile at room temp, non-motile at 37 degrees Celsius. Okay, 2 species to remember. You have your Yersinia pestis. Okay, ang common vector niya po is the rat flea, also known as your Xenopsila chiopis. Okay, this produces massive pandemics before, no, nung panahon pa ng mga Europeans, mga ganyan, Middle Age, parang gano'n. They cause, Yersinia pestis causes your Black Death. Okay, or your bubonic plague. Okay. Yersinia enterocolitic, on the other hand, produces bullseye colonies, no? And it can be cultured on your CIN medium, CIN medium. Okay? So the monster genosa, we talked about this a while ago. Siya lang po yung nag-iisang Pseudomonas to grow at 42 degrees Celsius. Okay? Burkholderia malae causes glanders disease. Pseudomalae causes melioidosis. And the Burkholderia cepacia causes onion bulb rot and human foot rot. Okay? Please remember the associated diseases. Okay? Next, you have your Haemophilus species. Okay? Ang mga Haemophilus po, capnophilic. Yan. Haemophilus would be capnophilic, requiring 5 to 10% CO2. And aside from that, meron din tayong special requirements, no, based on the species. Okay? So ito po yung special requirements. You have your X factor and your V factor. Okay? Yung mga hindi po nangangailangan ng X factor would be those having para in their name. So pansinin nyo guys. Para hemolyticus, yan. Para hemolyticus, para influenzae, para Propylus. No, pare-pareho silang X factor negative. Okay? Si Propylus, tandaan nyo din siya nag-isa negative. Negative for both. Okay? V factor, halos lahat po nangangailangan except lang H-nuclein H Propylus. Okay? Yung hemolysis, medyo understandable. If you look at the name, no, yung mga may hemolyticus sa pangalan, sila po yung positive sa hemolysis. Okay? Hemolyticus, para hemolyticus, no? Sila yung positive sa hemolysis. Okay? And then you have your ALA test. Okay? Yung ALA nyo, okay, positive po siya kung hindi gumagamit ng X factor yung organism. Okay? So sino-sino ba yung mga negative sa X factor? Ito sila. Para hemolyticus, para influenzae, para Propylus. So lahat po niyan, positive dun sa ating ALA test. Okay, and another one is Propylus, which does not require X factor. Okay, positive din siya sa ALA. Okay, all of the rest are negative for your ALA. Okay. Any questions so far? Okay, let's continue. So tandaan yung rule sa ALA, positive lang ito kapag negative sa X factor. Okay. Next, you have your Campylobacter. This is associated with gastritis and diarrhea. Helicobacter, on the other hand, is associated with your peptic ulcer. Please remember, no, that your Helicobacter is a strong urease producer and it converts urea into ammonia. Okay? So may tanong sa ASCP. Ang tanong is, how do you confirm that a particular specimen has Helicobacter? So what we need to do is to check for urease production. Okay, let's go to your Bordetella. You have your pertussis, which is the agent of your whooping cough. Para pertussis, okay, remember this is urease and oxidase positive. And then Bronchoseptica, this is motile, urease, nitrate, and oxidase positive. Okay, for Brucella species, no, remember the diseases. You have your brucellosis or your undulant fever or your Malta fever. Okay, si abortus naman, okay, it is able to grow in the presence of basic pushing. And CO2 and H2S positive siya. Melitensis is able to grow in the presence of thionine and basic pushing. Okay, please remember that your Brucella is cultured using Castaneda's medium, and the specimen of choice would be blood or bone marrow aspirate. Okay, for Legionella, the culture is your buffered charcoal yeast extract, BCYE. Okay, obtained po siya from air conditioning tower with pore staining characteristics. Pasteurella, on the other hand, associated po with the sheeping fever. It can also cause hemorrhagic septicemia. Si Francisella naman, which requires both cysteine and cysteine, requires your blood glucose cysteine medium. Okay. Gardnerella vaginalis can cause vaginosis, represented by foul-smelling greenish vaginal discharge. No? In clinical microscopy, ang tatandaan nyo dito, guys, clue cells. Okay, in the urine, you will be able to see clue cells. No? These are epithelial vaginosis or bacterial vaginosis. One-of bodies, these are mononuclear cells found in patients infected with granuloma inguinale. Okay, previously caused by, okay, this is actually sexually transmitted, no? Okay. Bacillus anthracis versus Bacillus cereus, napag-usapan natin to, guys, skip na natin. Then you also have your Clostridium here. Clostridium perfringens, okay, produces your double zone of hemolysis. Okay. Clostridium tetani causes your lockjaw or spastic paralysis. Okay. Botulinum causes flaccid paralysis. Okay. Okay. Ano bang disease ang kinakos ng Clostridium difficile? This causes antibiotic associated diarrhea. Okay, so Clostridium difficile is associated with antibiotic-associated diarrhea. Yung mga patients na nagpo-prolong the antibiotics, namamatay kasi normal flora nila sa gut, sa kanilang large intestine. So eventually, Clostridium difficile is able to grow without okay. Okay, next, let's go to your Runyon classification of MOTT. MOTT is mycobacteria other than tuberculosis. Okay, so there are four groups: photochromogen, scotochromogen, non-photochromogens, and rapid growers. Okay, yung photochromogen, they produce pigment in light. Ang scotochromogen naman, they can produce pigment in the dark as well as in the light. Okay, non-photochromogen, they have slow growth. Okay, and then the pigment is absent. Rapid growers, they can grow from 2 to 7 days. And usually no pigment. Okay, so please remember the examples here, and also, of course, the definition of the definition of each classification under Runyon. Okay, highlight ko lang to, guys. Sino daw yung top water scotochromogen or the top water bacillus? That would be Mycobacterium gordonii. Okay, natanong na rin po sa ating ASCP yan. Sino daw yung natatagpuan sa top water? That would be your Mycobacterium gordonii, which is also known as the top water scotochromogen. Okay, and then you also have your cell wall-less bacteria. Remember, no, may dalawang genera for cell wall-less bacteria. You have your Mycoplasma, and Ureaplasma. And then we have enumerated the important organisms under Mycoplasma as well as in your Ureaplasma. Okay, so si Mycoplasma pneumoniae, siya po yung nagkakos ng primary atypical pneumonia. Or this might be asked as your walking pneumonia. So bakit siya tinawag na walking pneumonia? Walking pneumonia kasi yung pasyente natin, no, kahit na may pneumonia siya, makita mo na nakatayo pa rin siya, sometimes nakapunta sa work, and so on. Okay, so kadalasan that is caused by Mycoplasma pneumoniae. Ang tanong sa board exam, may pasyenteng may primary atypical pneumonia. Tapos, binigyan ng penicillin. Bakit hindi nag-work yung penicillin? Bakit hindi nag-work yung penicillin doon sa primary atypical pneumonia? Kasi remember, penicillin attacks cell wall synthesis. Yun yung ini-inhibit niya. Cell wall synthesis. Eh, Mycoplasma pneumoniae, meron po ba siyang cell wall? Wala. So, hindi po useful ang penicillin in your cell wall-less bacteria. Hindi siya mag-work. Okay? So, natanong na rin po sa ESCP yun as a situational na question. Mycoplasma hominis causes postpartum fever. Ureaplasma urethriticum causes non-gonococcal urethritis in men. Okay? Mycoplasma genitalium associated with urethral and other urogenital infections. Okay? So we're done with bacteriology. Do you have questions, guys? Medyo maraming question din regarding bacteriology. So I hope you study our notes very well. May question po ba tayo? Before we proceed? Wala. Going once.